Butch and Bob Show.
World famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. Morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Going well.
Going well, huh?
Yep.
Well, good, good. Now, is that the new Georgia SEC championship cap there?
It is.
That looked good there. White with the champions on the front and gold and black and the SEC on there. There's the G on the side. I should say, where's the G? It's on there on the right-hand side. It's on the side there. Got the Georgia windbreaker on there with a big black G with a red circle around it. Man, you all dogged up this morning.
Ready to whip up on Notre Dame.
That's right. We beat them every time we've played them.
Yeah.
3-0 against them.
3-0.
3-0 against the Fighting Irish.
I like the odds makers got Notre Dame favorite. That's always a
Oh,
good
they
sign.
do? They have Notre Dame favored by 2? Is it because
they quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, big question mark. How's Gunnar going to do in this big spotlight?
Right.
Hasn't really played a lot this year, so. But Georgia fans feel good about it. Kirby feels good about it, so we'll see how it all plays out. New Year's night in New Orleans.
Well, let's hope that Gunnar does as well as Michael Penix did yesterday for the Falcons. Being like a rookie quarterback there, not playing much, and then boom, he did good yesterday. So the Falcons back on top.
It was against the Giants, though. Don't get
I
too
know.
upset.
The Giants?
The Giants are awful.
Yeah, beat the Giants.
There's a lot of bad NFL teams.
It's amazing. You got the same, every team can spend the same amount of money, has to spend the same amount of money on payroll. And some of them just, they draft better and trade better than others and have a better organization.
It's just a lot of bad NFL teams. The Jets, the Giants, the Jaguars, the Saints, the Raiders. The list goes on.
The list goes on and on.
There's some bad.
Well, you always have the cream of the crop, and you got to have bottom dwellers, Bob.
I guess. Kansas City's still rolling.
They're still rolling, but are they good enough to win? Are they going to beat Minnesota or Baltimore or someone like? And the Commanders are coming up here now. Here they are defeated Philadelphia yesterday. They've come on strong here at the end of the season.
Jalen Hurts got hurt though in that ball game. Had to leave with concussion, so
he'll be back.
That's the difference. But Patrick Mahomes is just special. I say he's just without a doubt the best quarterback in the NFL, and he just finds a way to win. Plus they got a good coach in Andy Reid, so. They could pull off something that's never been done, win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Time will tell. Playoffs in a couple weeks. Hopefully the Falcons can hang on and win that division. Like I said, they got a big gift last night by Dallas Cowboys beating Tampa Bay.
Can you believe that? Yeah. Dallas has won last 4 of the last 5, so McCarthy may have saved his job here.
I doubt it.
You doubt it? You see his press conference there? He's got a big old smile on his face.
I don't know.
Jerry, he doesn't like to let people go.
That's true.
Which is amazing.
He hasn't fired a lot of people. So.
Which is amazing that he would do that, but that's just the way he is. So. Falcons win yesterday. Of course, they've got Carolina and Washington to go. Washington then Carolina. So they got the toughest of the of Tampa Bay's got.
The Washington game's the big game.
That's next week. This week. Yeah.
You got to go to Washington and try to stop Jaden Daniels and company. So that'll be a big test for the Falcons. But hopefully they can go in and do that, win those 2 games. Like I said, they control their own destiny. All they got to do is win out, and they're in. So
two more wins. Beat Washington. Beat Carolina. And but I think you mentioned that Tampa Bay has Carolina and St. Louis to New Orleans to go.
They got New Orleans and Carolina.
Yeah.
So
right.
So again, they've got the easier path, but like I said,
about one team.
Never can tell in the NFL. So
you never can tell. You just never can.
But Michael Penix looked pretty good. Like I said, had that one interception, but it really wasn't his fault. It was kind of tipped and ricocheted off one player to another. So, but otherwise, he looked pretty good. Looked like he had command of the offense, and I said it was a good showing.
And he played for who in college?
Washington. Won a national championship with the Huskies. They won the national championship last year. He was coming out of the draft. So.
Okay.
6th overall
I
pick.
forgot that Washington won the national championship last year.
6th overall pick by the Falcons.
Are you going to have 2 West Coast teams win back-to-back national champs, Washington and Oregon? Is that going to happen, Bob? Not if Georgia has anything to do with it, but
I'm telling you, it's going to be Georgia, Texas for the 3rd time in a row.
You think so, huh?
Yeah. I think Texas is going to get there. Texas is going to beat Arizona State, and then they're going to be playing in Texas in the Cotton Bowl and have that home field. And Georgia's going to beat up on Notre Dame and whip up on Penn State in the Orange Bowl, and it'll be Georgia, Texas for the third time. And the question is, can you beat a team three times? That's what's scary.
Well, I think the other teams have something to say with that, but you think that Oregon, I guess they're favored over Ohio State, even though it's a close matchup here?
Ohio State, man, I tell you, they whipped up on Tennessee. They look like a totally different team.
They did whip up on them.
It was 21-0 before you could blink
Tennessee
an eye.
even show up?
Their fans did. They had half the stadium in orange. But the Tennessee Vols didn't show up. They got whipped.
Yeah. Well, all four games were blowouts.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we said it on Friday Sports. There's pretenders and contenders, and Indiana and SMU, and some of these teams are just pretenders. Boise State's another one that's just, I mean, they got an automatic bye, but they're not going far. They're going to get whipped by Penn State. So, I mean, Penn State
should win that game.
Yeah. Arizona State can't play with Texas. I mean,
no, they can't.
So, like I said, they're going to have to reseed them next year, change the format. You know,
I think you said next year they're going to do it like the playoffs in basketball.
You're just going to
the
top 12 teams, but you're going to see the top four are going to get the buys instead of automatic bids for the conference. You know, because as the song says in Sesame Street, one of these things is not like the other. I'm sorry.
One of these things is not like the other?
Arizona, you know, the ACC is not like the SEC. The Big 12 is not like the SEC. And the SEC still yell and scream, but they should be. I mean, I promise you, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Alabama are all better than Boise State, better than Indiana and better than SMU. Yeah. So, I mean, the problem with the SEC, you beat up on each other. You know, they get 3 losses, but give Indiana an SEC schedule, see how many games they lose.
Yeah.
Like I told my nephew, I don't think Indiana could beat any team in the SEC. Name a team they could beat in the SEC.
I don't know. Mississippi State?
I love Nick Saban putting that coach Indiana in his place. Did you see that Saturday?
No, I didn't see that.
He was on College Game Day. He was talking, I mean, he thinks he's got the greatest team in America.
Yeah, Indiana does.
About it. So they were sitting there on the desk, and they asked Signetti what he learned from Nick Saban. He was his receiver coach for 4 years, and he talked about how he has a different philosophy, but he learned a lot from Saban, blah, blah. And they said, well, Coach Saban, that's quite a compliment. And Saban looked at him and said, yeah, the one thing I didn't teach you is talk all that smack that you've been talking about. He didn't use the word smack, but he used a different word. But he said, that's one thing I didn't teach you, how to talk all that crap. So,
no, Saban didn't talk smack. Mm-hmm.
And it blew up in his face because he had no answer for Notre Dame, and that game was over too, and 27-0 at one point. So
yeah, I mean, who did Clemson lose to?
Clemson got beat by Texas. Clemson played a good game. I mean, they hung in there pretty good, but Texas, you know, just was never in doubt who was going to win the ball.
No, there was never. It got in the third quarter.
But they fought hard. The quarterback from it was a good story. The quarterback from Clemson and the quarterback from Texas played each other in a state championship game in Texas, and they're both from Texas. So they showed that championship game, and the father and son were the coaches of that game. So that was pretty cool. So
man, it's
a neat story. But that was a good. That was probably the better of the 4 games. The bad thing, everybody had the anticipation was the big game between Ohio State and Tennessee. Most people thought Tennessee would go in and give them a game. At least I did. But like I said, it was over at 21-0. It was just over. I mean, Ohio State just read all those clippings about how they couldn't beat Michigan and how they're going to fire their coach and all that. Well, they got fired up.
They got fired up, man. They put a whipping on the balls.
But now they got to go take on the Oregon Ducks. That ought to be a good ball game. The Rose Bowl should be fun to watch. It'll be a good ball game.
It'll be a good ball game.
That's probably the best matchup of the 4. Like I said, I don't see Arizona State playing with Texas. I don't see SMU playing with Penn State, and I don't see Notre Dame playing with Georgia. So I think Georgia wins that game.
Okay. All coming up this weekend?
I believe.
Or the next week? It's New Year's Eve weekend, right?
It's New Year's Day. And
New Year's Day, so it's not this weekend.
Right. It's the following weekend. Right.
Following weekend. Is the weekend?
Georgia
because New Year's Day is on a Wednesday.
It's New Year's night.
All right, so it's the middle of the week. Okay. Yeah. All right, so New Year's Eve on the 31st.
Those bowl games are on New Year's Day and New Year's night.
All right, so there's that Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
There's the Peach Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl. And
all the big bowls
all
that
the
we've
bowl.
used to on the on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, right?
And the semifinal was at the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. And then the
Okay.
national championship games in Atlanta, January the 20th.
There at Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes-Benz. Georgia trying to get their be at home for the national championship
I thought
game.
I didn't know that Michigan had ever won a national championship in a long time. It was Michigan that won the national championship last year.
I thought they won the year before.
And it says Washington was runner-up last year.
Well, okay,
They're runner-up to Michigan
they played
last
for the
year.
national championship.
Yeah, they played for the national championship last year. I thought that Michigan won last
That's
year,
right.
but I didn't want to.
That's right. Harbaugh
Harbaugh
That's right,
won and then
Harbaugh
left
won.
and went to
That's
San
right.
Diego.
He went to NFL.
Well, LA.
Chargers.
Yeah, well, San Diego Chargers.
That's his team with all those penalties that he got away with.
Yeah, he got away with a lot of stuff and then just left town.
Like he didn't
Y'all
know-
take care of the mess. I'm out of here.
Like, and he said he didn't know anything about it.
I know nothing. Like Sergeant Schultz, I know nothing. Sometimes it's good to be ignorant, huh, Bob?
He orchestrated the whole thing and walked out and said, I don't know what y'all talking about. But y'all have fun. Y'all penalize me all you want. I'm going to L.A.
Yeah. Michigan, they won the national championship last year, but they had quite a fall off, except for beating Ohio State this year. I mean, that saved their season right there, beating Ohio State.
And they woke up a sleeping giant because Ohio State.
Tennessee, why'd y'all do that?
They regrouped pretty good. I mean, that was a heck of a game by Ohio State. I mean, Tennessee just had no. I mean, it was just a bad showing by the Volunteers.
Fish.
But
Oh well.
that's why you play the games. But they did have a lot of fans there. They said, I mean,
A lot of fans up there in Columbus.
Kirk Herbstreit said that was the most, opposing crowd he's ever seen in Columbus. They don't normally.
I can't believe they sold that many tickets to Tennessee.
They were mad because they lost to Michigan.
There's
There's
some.
They still wanted the coach fired. That's how bad it was.
I know. That's the thing about it is you win 10, 11 games a year, but if you lose, they'd rather be the other way around. They'd rather beat Michigan and have a losing season than they would have a winning season and have a chance at national win.
That's how bad that rivalry is up there.
That's pretty bad
They
right
said
there.
they'd rather win that game more than anything.
More than anything. More than win a national championship.
They said that the week of the game. They asked those guys, they said, would you rather beat Michigan or win the national championship? They were like, we'd rather beat Michigan.
Man, that is a rivalry right there.
They don't like They don't like each other up there.
They don't even call them Michigan. They call them that team up north. Yeah, they call them. They don't even call them by that name. They don't even recognize their name. They say that team up north.
Oh well. But Georgia, I like Kirby's just keeping everybody in guessing about Carson Beck. He just won't come out and say.
Well, Carson's not playing.
Well,
we all know that.
Kirby keeps acting like there's hope. Just wishing for the best. That's what he
hoping
told.
for that Christmas miracle.
That's what he told College game day. Said, we're just hoping for the best. So,
oh Lord.
He hasn't had surgery yet, but they say he's contemplating surgery. All these inside experts say he's going to have surgery to get ready. So I don't know.
You don't want to overdo it. You want to get it fixed up and healed up before you use it again.
I mean, you would think if he's going to have the surgery, he'd go ahead and have it.
Go ahead and have it.
I mean, because the NFL, if he's thinking about going to the NFL, he'd like to get back.
Maybe he's not thinking about that.
Maybe not. Maybe he's coming back for another year.
He's coming back, and he may just say, "All right, we're just going to let's keep the other teams guessing whether they're going to play or not." But I guarantee you can get some sort of spy out there and practice somewhere to see if he's throwing that ball or not.
Well, let's be honest. If Gunnar Stockton steps in and takes Georgia to the national championship game, who do you think is going to be starting quarterback in the fall?
Gunnar.
Right. So why would you come back? Right? I mean, so that's what I don't understand. So
oh boy,
you might as well go to the NFL.
But not when you're injured like this. He's dropped down. His
brand
has dropped down a lot.
It's going to drop down even worse if he's second string quarterback. He can drive that Lamborghini all he wants if he's second stringer. Gunnar Stockton just won a national championship. So guess what? He's not getting back on the field unless Gunnar gets hurt.
Unless Gunnar gets hurt or doesn't have a good game. It's a lot of pressure on a kid. He's a young guy. I just
like the way Kirby's just sitting there smiling. We're wishing him the best. He's not with us. He's down in Jacksonville looking, possibility what he's going to do, but we're wishing for the best. Hoping he's back, like he's coming back.
He didn't. deny it.
No.
Either way, just not. Well, we just wish him the best. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens.
He didn't say anything about surgery. He didn't say anything about shutting him down. He didn't say anything. He just acted like he's coming back. Like after we beat Notre Dame, here comes Carson Beck back on the field. So, but everybody else is saying he's going to have surgery and he's going to be gone. So I guess only Carson Beck and his family knows because he's not with the team because he hasn't practiced since he hurt the shoulder. So,
yeah. So you said he's in Jacksonville?
He's with his family, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's where he's from?
Yeah, he's from Jacksonville.
Okay. So he's with his family. Well, if he's down there, he's not going to play. I mean,
they say he's exploring options. He's talking to different doctors, but
right.
And then you get different reports on what it is. Some say he, tore it. Some people say he just sprained it. So I don't really know what it. I just know Brock Purdy had the same thing. He had to have surgery because he tore his, but he came back for the next season. So, but it'll be interesting to see what Carson Beck decides to do because he has that. He's already made the indication he's possibly coming back for another season in Athens. So
he did.
But the NIL,
he threw that out there.
Yeah, with that NIL money, why not?
It's true.
And somebody told me this weekend that when you're injured, you don't get NIL money. So I don't know if that's true or not. So I don't know how that works.
I have no idea, Bob.
I mean, I don't know who controls all that. So that's what somebody told me over the weekend. They said, when you get injured, that NIL money doesn't show up in your bank account. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, it's just according if any business out there is going to pay them to promote their products.
I don't know who's providing it.
Maybe Morgan & Morgan stepping forward and going to help the kid out.
Who knows? Like I said, it's a wild, wild west. Nobody knows who's getting what.
No.
But I said the Sugar Bowl should be fun. That's like I said, they're bring back all those memories at the 1981
Notre
National
Dame
Championship.
back Sugar Bowl. Yeah.
Somebody asked me what the score's going to be. I said it's going to be just like it was in 1980, 17-10. Go Dogs. Deja vu.
Deja vu.
That's the final score.
History repeats itself.
That's right. History repeats itself. 17-10 in New Orleans. Bring back good memories. I said, I got all these people calling from college. They say, hey, let's get together. I said, look, my parents don't live in New Orleans anymore. We got 5 tickets are a lot more expensive than they were back in 1980.
Well, you went there because you were covering it for Georgia, so you didn't have to pay to get in the stadium. You were right there on the sidelines. I mean, you got a free pass in the stadium.
I was in the box.
You were in the box?
I just bought in the press box, yeah.
Okay. I thought you said you were down on the sidelines.
Yeah, I was down on the sidelines for the Georgia-Florida game.
The Georgia-Florida game, but you were up in the box on the national championship
Unfortunately,
game.
They showed the highlights again, and they show after the game. That guy on top of that goalpost, that's my friend from New York that we had to go get out of jail. He's famous. He's in all those books and all that, but they arrested like 12.
For going up on the goalpost, they arrested him.
They arrested like 12, 15 people, threw them in jail, and fined them all to make sure they got the money back for the goalpost.
Yeah, but now he will live in infamy, Bob. It was worth it, right?
Was it worth it that night? He was scared to death.
I'm sure he was scared to death.
Luckily, he picked the right phone number. He picked the. They just, because we couldn't find. I told you, we all met down at the French Quarter at 2:00 that morning to go back to the house.
Right.
And everybody was there except my friend from New York. So, I mean, we were going to sit there all.
Sit there and wait for him, huh?
So we got back to the house, and sure enough, he was there. He called my parents to come get him out of jail, that he had money in his suitcase. So they were able to bail him out. So.
Bail him out with the money he already had, and that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
He said it was a scary night.
I bet it was. It's kind of what kind of people you saw in the jail down there in New Orleans after a party night.
That's that funny story. He said, your parents, asked me how it was. He said, I was in the tunnel. He said, but I got to see Brett Musburger go, as he came through. He was doing the broadcast.
Right.
And my mother said, does Brett Musburger need a ride home? She didn't know who Brett Musburger was.
No, he's got his own limo.
He got
a ride.
He got a kick out of that.
Well, your mom didn't know.
She didn't know.
She didn't know.
Yeah, she was just trying to be helpful.
Yeah, she was just trying to be a good, helpful mom there, huh?
Does he need a ride home too?
No, he doesn't need one.
He's got a ride home.
He's taken care of.
That was a crazy night.
God, that's 44 years ago.
That's a
Bob.
long time ago. It's
44 years.
I still remember it like it was yesterday. Just great memories. That was fun. Seeing Irk Russell in that locker room after the ball game, had the big cigar, and they said, we just beat Notre Dame. And they asked Irk, they said, Irk, we're going to be number one? He said, yeah, we're number one. I said, you think it's going to be a unanimous vote? He took a big puff on that cigar. He said, nah, it's not going to be unanimous. He said, why is that, Irk? He said, because them Yankees are prejudiced. They don't like us. He said, it won't be unanimous.
Was it?
I don't think it
was. You don't think it was?
I think it was all but 1 or 2 votes or something like that. But Irk was a classic man.
Oh yeah, he was a card.
He always had He always had that victory cigar after the ball game.
And button heads with his defensive players on the sideline. His forehead would be bleeding and stuff like that. I mean, it was. And he was something else, and then goes to Southern and puts together those national championship teams.
Georgia's like midgets compared to those Notre Dame. They were that press conference. I mean, Notre Dame, they outweighed us on both offensive lines by 40, 50 pounds a guy.
Yeah, they were huge.
They were huge. I mean, they were supposed to roll in that ball game. So, but we had Herschel, thank goodness. That was the difference.
Was that the difference?
Yeah, and I said my favorite trivia question of all time is how many passes did Buck Bellew complete in that ball game?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is 1.
1. How many did he attempt?
10 or 12.
10 or 12.
Like I said, he threw 1 pass out late
in
the ball game.
How many yards did Herschel have? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Don't remember, but enough for us to win the game.
Well over 100. And I said he popped his shoulder and had to pop his. They talk about how Lawrence Smith talks about being on the sidelines, and they popped it in place. He could hear it pop, and he couldn't believe it. He said, Herschel said, I didn't come here to sit on the sidelines.
No.
He told that doctor to pop that shoulder in place. And
pop it in shape, shoot it up, and let me get back in there.
And the rest is history.
Yep.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Great night.
Great memories.
Yeah, great memories. Like I said, I remember that was a great time. So hopefully it'll be a good time New Year's night when Georgia beats Notre Dame for the 4th time in history.
Yep. We just had a text come in that says, Merry Christmas, Butch and Bob. Have a great holiday, Pastor Mickey. So thank you, Mickey Tomberlin.
Mickey Tomberlin.
Appreciate that so much right there, because this is we're not going to be here tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. So this is our last Butch and Bob show for this week. We'll be back 1 week from now on Monday, so it's not the last one of the year, but it's the last one for this week. As Bob's going out of town to visit with family for the week and spend time with them. And always we have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, so I won't be here tomorrow or Wednesday. So last Butch and Bob show for this week, and then we'll be back 1 week from today with an update on what happened with all the games and our thoughts and feelings and other things that's going on through Christmas.
And again, take place Friday at 3:30. They're in Birmingham, taking on Vanderbilt. That ought to be a good ball game.
Yep, that ought to be a good ball game.
It'll be the last time that Weston Franklin tees it up for Georgia Tech, the center, so all ACC selection. So it'll be his final
Tell
game.
folks who he is, just in case they don't know.
He's a graduate from Wayne County, went to Georgia Tech on a scholarship. He's their center, wears number 72, all ACC center for Georgia Tech. But this will be his final game, and he'll get ready for the NFL.
Is he going to the combine?
He looks like he's definitely going to be invited to the combine. I said he's got a great shot to make it to the next level.
Weston Franklin, Wayne County High School graduate, starter there for Georgia Tech at center, and he'll be playing this Friday at 3:30 as they take on Vanderbilt. And which bowl is that? Do you remember?
The Birmingham Bowl.
The Birmingham Bowl. So, I assume that's in Birmingham, Alabama.
You would assume right. Some of these bowl games are easy to find.
They're easy to know.
Like the Idaho Potato Hole. Where's that? It's an Idaho. Some are hard to figure out. Like some of these. Did you see the bowl game? They had the trophy was a toaster.
A toaster?
Yeah, a toaster.
You got to be kidding me. A toaster.
Yeah, it was an actual toaster. They put in Pop-Tarts and that was the trophy. It was an actual
toaster.
Yeah.
In a bowl game.
It was a nice looking toaster, but the trophy was a toaster.
Now that's funny right there. Man.
Guess it comes in handy. You put it on your, coach. The winning coach takes it home, puts it on his, he can
put it on his kitchen counter.
Right. And have breakfast every morning.
I reckon, Bob. Anything else on your mind this morning here
No,
before we have the last Butch and Bob show
I just want to
of
wish
Christmas
everybody
week?
out there a very Merry Christmas.
All right, have a good day. All right, safe travels. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup has been brought to you by the Service Department at GNS Auto Sales. Also brought to you by First Southern Bank, Murphy Builder Supply, and O.C. Welch Ford in Hardyville.